Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is the great and powerful Zilla, and Happy New Year. This is the day before the beginning of the new year, and as I've browsed through YouTube and the web, I've noticed that almost everybody's got a top 10 list or a top 5 list of 2019 for this, that, and the other thing. Okay? And I said, well, I don't really want to copy everybody else. Because they all said, what's our top 10 ships and what's our top 10, things and what do we like the best and everything else, and everyone's yay, yay, rah, rah, clap, clap, Happy New Year and all that good stuff. Okay? Well, I've had a pretty successful year. I've had a lot of medical problems, but we fight through it, we continue, and I'm still here. So as long as the good Lord puts me here, I'm good to go. All right? So, what do we got here? Well, what we got is a new rank system. You guys have no doubt by now know about this, the ranked 1v1. And look at this. Ta-da! Zilla made it to rank 1. And I did it with 3 ships. I did it with the Akazuki. I did it with the Massachusetts. And I did it with the Lightning. Now, a lot of people are saying the Tirpitz is the thing to use. Ain't no question. That, the Prince Eugen, and the Hipper. But those 3 ships are what I did it with. And the reason I did it that way is because of this. I'm on Directive 4 of this thing. Now, I have no chance of getting to Puerto Rico. We'll get into that later. But I got these done very, very quickly using ranked battles. Okay? So, here we got the Lightning. Here we got the Massachusetts. And here we got the Akazuki. Boom, boom, boom. Done. Okay? And by then, I was rank 1. So, my suggestion to you is if you are on Directive 4, by all means, grab a ship line out of a certain nation that you need and use the ranked battle system to get that up there. Because on a win, you're going to get about $1,000, or not $1,000, about 1,000 XP, base XP for that ranked battle. Okay? All right. The other thing, too, is you got to understand is that this is 1v1. I really, really enjoy this mode. It's kind of like an old medieval duel or joust. Me versus you, mano a mano. To me, this is the way the rank battle should be. Plus, there's no stress. You don't lose a star. You've got every rank is irrevocable. That's the way it should be. Okay? So, in the future, hopefully, and they're not going to listen anyway, but hopefully we'll see more things like this. More players are excited to play the ranked battles this way as opposed to the other way. So anyway, let's get into my top list. I have an unusual top list. And my top list is the top 5 screw-ups that Wargaming did for 2019. And let's start with the elephant in the room, the carrier rework. Okay? The carrier rework was promised to be one thing, and it turned into an abortion of epic proportions. This thing was a dumpster fire. They couldn't get it right. They'd swing the pendulum one way all the way over here and all the way over there. Nobody was happy. Carrier players weren't happy. DD players are still, to this very day, cursing the day carriers were even invented. All right? So the carrier rework has turned into a gigantic disaster. Their stated purpose was to get more people playing the carriers, and obviously that has failed on an epic level. I don't care what their spreadsheets say. Were it not for them force-feeding carriers into these matches, such as doing these directives, and one of them is the aircraft carriers here, battle experience and whatnot, XP. If it weren't for that sort of thing, you rarely ever see a carrier. Although I have seen a couple in ranked matches, and they've done surprisingly well. However, be that as it may, the carrier rework continues to be an issue, and it continues to be an ongoing battle. And I think basically at this point, Wargaming has thrown up their hands and given up, because they can't make anybody happy, and they're not going to. I mean, they've done it to the point where they've made it so expensive to run a carrier without permanent camouflage and all this extra stuff that's ridiculous. Your bombs no longer fall, they float. You can't turn quickly, which is what aircraft did. Okay? It's just amazing. And if you've got a decent carrier on your team, he's going to get reported anyway. You know, you're not going to get any karma out of killing a carrier, period. You're going to get reported almost every single game. So, number 5, carrier rework. Number 4, going hand in hand with that is the Graf Zeppelin mess. They came out with the Graf Zeppelin. It was overpowered, way, way overpowered. So they backed off and they nerfed it into oblivion. Then the people that bought it for real money wanted their money back. So they fixed it, quote unquote. Okay, and the Graf Zeppelin continues to be an issue in the game. This little girl right here is number 3. The Smolensk. The Smolensk is still a great deal of debate about whether it's overpowered or not. It is and it isn't. It's squishy as hell. This ship, if a butterfly lands on it, it breaks in two. So it is very squishy. But in its element, you can use correctly, this ship is unbelievably powerful. Alright? And it's available for coal, which means anybody that plays any length of time can get it. Especially with this snowflake event going on, you're going to start collecting coal and everything else. And my recommendation is, even though I like the Thunderer, I have it, to get the Smolensk as quickly as you can, because they're going to pull this crap out of that shop, out of the armory quickly. This is not going to be around forever. Within the next 2 or 3 patches, this thing's going to be gone. They're going to pull it. It's overpowered. You might recall the Belfast, how they pulled that. The Musashi, well, there's too many people playing Musashi. And the bottom line was it was overpowered. It was Yamato at tier 9. All right? And there were a few other ships that they did this to. So this ship is not going to be around in the armory very long. If you have an opportunity to get your hands on it, get it. They're not going to nerf it. It is a premium ship. It is overpowered. This thing is a high explosive monstrosity. Not only does it have smoke, but it's also got hydro, and it's got torpedoes as well. So this thing is just unbelievable. 16 130 millimeter guns firing every so many seconds. It's unbelievably overpowered as far as that goes. It's kind of a glass cannon, but still, it's overpowered. Number 2. Oh, what do we do? What do we do? Number 2. Got into a debate with somebody yesterday about this. The NTC mess. Never before have I ever seen a gaming community up in arms as much as they were over this NTC mess. When they first came out with it, remember what the NTC was. The NTC was you regrind a line, collect the points out of that line, right? And then you build up these points, this currency, and you spend it, and you could buff a tier 10. You could buff it up to 3 times. Okay? Which essentially made it a tier 13. Alright? So you'd reset the line, and they had these ridiculous buffs, like the Montana would be invincible, etc., etc. Went on. Well, they backed off of it. But see, Wargaming, in their infinite wisdom, knows that, or thinks they know, that we are stupid. So about a month later, they came out with it again. Only they called it something different. And people still don't believe that's what it is. It is the NTC. It's the same thing. They just changed it a little bit. Okay? So what is it? Well, the NTC is the Research Bureau, is the NTC. It's the same thing. All right? And what they have is a special category where you can go into the Research Bureau and spend your tokens. Notice that I have not spent any, and I never will. All right? On these. You can get the Ohio, or you can get the Colbert. The Ohio is nothing more than a Montana with 18-inch guns. The Colbert is the French version of the Smolensk. All right? And you could buy other things with these tokens as well, flags and whatnot. Okay? Not much there right now. Watch this expand. It will. Trust me. This is the NTC. It's the same thing. You regrind a line about 6 times and you can get the Ohio, or you could get the Colbert. All right? And what you do is you reset your line. You sell all the ships in there are sold at half cost. Then you have to regrind from tier 1 all the way down the line. All right. So that's the NTC. That was a huge PR disaster. It continues to be a huge PR disaster for a couple of reasons. One, people still remember that shit. If you look at the forum posts, there are people with signatures that say no to NTC. It's the same thing. The Research Bureau is the NTC. They just changed the name and then changed the results a little bit. No longer buffing the tier 10 ships anymore, but instead they're offering things that are gated behind the NTC. Because this has failed on an epic level, okay, and only people with millions of free XP, this right here, all right, are going to go ahead and do that, then what they've done is they said to themselves, we invested X amount of money into this program. We have to get our money back out of it. So what they're going to do is, ranked at number 1, along with the Puerto Rico disaster, which I'll get into, is the unique upgrades. All right, at tier 10, you get unique upgrades for some of your ships. All right, so for example, well, I don't have any on my Soviet ships yet, but where are they at? Right here. Okay, I'll figure this out. All right, you go on personal assignments. When you get a tier 10 ship, one of the older tier 10 ships like Montana and whatnot, the Gross of Hawaii, for example, you work your way through these missions and you eventually will get a unique upgrade. Okay, now it doesn't tell you on this screen, but there are negatives that are involved with this, and most of them are practically useless. Some are actually detrimental to the ship. For example, the Minotaur one. Oh, you get improved smoke. Whoop the frickin' do. I did all this crap for improved smoke? Get out of here. Anyway, like the one for the Shimakaze. Okay, you can fire 7 seconds faster with your torpedoes. But your torpedoes rotate 90% slower. And they have a 50% chance of getting destroyed. Alright, so you've got this little positive, this teeny little carrot, and then they've got these huge negatives. And they claim it's because of balance. It shouldn't be balanced. This is a unique upgrade. You've earned this. Alright, this should make your ship that much better. It shouldn't change it in one way or the other. It should just buff it all the way around. It doesn't have to be much, but it should be a buff all the way around. It should not be something that you have to trade off. So anyway, these unique upgrades, getting back to the farm, these unique upgrades, you go through all these missions to get these unique upgrades to put on your ship. All right? And then you come to find out 9 times out of 10 that it's useless anyway. Well, what are they going to do? They've already said they're going to block it behind the Research Bureau. Da-da-da, there we go with the NTC again. So they're going to lock it behind the Research Bureau. So you have to grind through the Research Bureau. They're going to force you, one way or the other, to grind through the Research Bureau. So if you want to get the unique upgrade for the Montana, for example, which in my humble opinion, is absolutely worth it, you're going to have to grind through the NTC. Let's just call it what it is. Research Bureau my ass. It's the NTC. And they're going to lock these things behind the NTC. So the unique upgrades is another public relations mess that came right on the heels of the Puerto Rico mess. Okay. By now, you all are familiar with what happened with the Puerto Rico. This is a public relations disaster of epic proportions. I've never seen anything quite like it. It surpasses even the NTC uproar. It's still going on in the forums. It's still lit up in Reddit, and it's still lit up everywhere else. This has given people such a bad taste in their mouth, many people have stopped playing the game altogether. And almost everybody has sworn they will never spend another dime on Wargaming. And I'm quite sure their bottom line is going to reflect this in their sales over the Christmas holiday. All right? So, what is it? Well, when it was advertised, everyone thought, hey, I can get to Puerto Rico for free by doing these missions and then, making progress toward the ship. The missions are so astronomically, ridiculously hard to do and complete in time because they put a strict time limit on this and nobody's really going to ever get this done. I mean, I have played on a regular basis and I'm only on stage 4. And I've only gotten that far. So, okay. Minor interruption. My apologies. Anyway, the idea was they advertised this and they made everybody believe that you could get this for free and everybody could do it. And it was their Christmas gift to us. And it turns out it was for whales only. You had to buy it. They want you to spend money on it. And they made 2 apologies, and neither one of them were very good at all. And this turned into a public relations disaster, as I said, of epic proportions. And I don't know how they ever get out of this. Wargaming recently came out with a video about wishing us all a Happy New Year. Yeah. Giant middle finger, Wargaming. I play this game because it's a good game. I play it because it's fun. But when you pull crap like this, it just makes everybody sour. So there's my top 5 list. To sum up, we have the carrier rework, which is still going on. We have the Graf Zeppelin, which is still a disaster. The Smolensk, which continues to be a complaint. The NTC, which is still exists as the Research Bureau. And they continue to plug away on it. And at number 1, tied, we have the Puerto Rico disaster and the unique upgrade disaster as well involved with that. So there you have it. That's my worst 5 moves that Wargaming have done over the course of this past year. All right. Will it change? Well, looking forward to 2020. I just remind everybody that watches my channel, guess what? Submarines are coming. Y'all have a great, great day. And be good to each other. Until next time, Happy New Year. I'll talk to you next year.